I'm so short, I'm going to grab a chair so you can see me.
Not much taller.
We got just a couple of minutes of club business, and then we're going to turn the time over with guests coming in. Is this working? We got a guest coming in tonight that's going to talk about first aid and what we should be carrying on our machines. But before we get to that, I'd like to take a couple minutes and explain some things that happened in the last couple of weeks with the club. With Steve's departure, as you all are aware, I stepped up and am now currently filling the position as the president. To keep the board functioning properly, we filled the VP position with one of the current board members, and I'd like to congratulate Danny Turka for taking on that task. And then we had to pull from the last election and fill Danny's position, so we'd like to welcome Corey Pigeon to the ranks as well. So all the faces are pretty common to most of you, but if you have questions, please reach out to any one of us. We'll do our best to answer them. For the coming ride in Fillmore, right now we have 63 riders signed up. We're not sure if that's going to hold with the current storm. That might scare a few people off, but we're counting on 63 at this point. It's going to be a fun day. We've got a bunch of trails down there that's already laid out for us. The plan is to go to Meadow Hot Springs, then we're going to go over to the lava tubes, wind up through Devil's Kitchen, around the Lace Curtain, and then back on down. So it'll be a full day. We'll probably take our lunch somewhere around Lace Curtain, just because it's got a nice big flat area where we will be out of the wind. So kind of plan that for now.
You know, the good thing is there's gravel roads everywhere we're going. You know, and so it's not, you're not going to have a lot of mud puddles. Other than when you go over to the hot springs, it's off the road and you get a little muddy over there. But they're all gravel roads, so it's not like being in a real muddy area.
Did you all hear that? Apparently we're not going to get real muddy, and that's a great thing. Except for right by the Meadow Hot Pots, but that's on private property where it's not maintained quite as well. So, plan on some rocks, and we'll go from there. Rick, you're up, my friend. So, Rick Scott is here. He's a first aid CPR instructor. He's been around for a long time, working with fire. He's going to go over what he carries in his machine and some minimum recommendations that he recommends we carry in ours. We ask people to bring their first aid kits. The purpose of that is Rick's going to kind of go through it, tell you what's important, what's not important, and we'll just kind of work through it from there. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Rick now. Thank you.
All right, good evening. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, I've been a member for a long time. Rick, well, let's talk about first aid. First of all, the definition of first aid is first and immediate assistance given to any person suffering from either a minor or a serious illness or injury, with care provided to preserve life, prevent the condition from getting worsening, or to promote recovery. So I work for a company called EMT Utah. That's here in the valley. I work out of the Orem office. And so everything that I'm going to discuss tonight comes out of our Wilderness First Responder course. So a lot of people have different opinions on what I'm going to say, but I only teach out of here, and I also teach EMTs, advanced EMTs, and then go on to be firefighters here in the valley. What I've given you here is a 5x7 card. I have some pens. If there's something that you would like to write down, I have plenty of pens here. Also, I have some cards about our course. And the next course is May 23rd, and it's $179, but it's actually 5 to 6 days. Most of it's at night, and then on a couple Saturdays, where we actually train wilderness. Sam does that down there. So let's talk about what kind of incidents do you think we're going to see on the trail?
Broken arm.
Stupidity. Stupidity. Okay, stupidity. I'm not used to these mics, so I can usually talk pretty loud, but So we have stupidity, okay? What's another one? Heat stroke, big time. Yeah, there you go. What's another one? Hyperthermia. We might get that this weekend, right? Good to go. What's another one?
Cuts, scrapes.
There's cuts, lacerations, scrapes, okay? Broken bones, bad deal. Yeah, there you go. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? Sprained ankles. Okay. The ones I came up with from riding with the group, the first one I like to discuss is medications. So I'm getting older, and so I'm on blood pressure medicine. So is that a medical condition we all should be aware of?
Yeah.
How about diabetics? Is that a problem? Sure. Also, what are the medical conditions that we might have? Dehydration, okay. AFib, we're going to talk about that in a minute. There you go. Then we have lightning. I remember up on Skyline one year, we got up there and the lightning was just all over the place. It kind of scared the heck out of people. But electrocution, right? Okay. How about flipping our ATVs over?
Yeah.
Right? So that might be a problem. That's going to be a trauma, right? Most likely. But what caused that machine to tip over? Did somebody have a medical emergency? So those are the things that I'm going to ask. So there's two things that I always category everything, doing this for many years. It's a trauma or it's a medical. That's how I look at it. But you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. And coming from the military and the fire, we have called incident command. So everybody wants to help. But unfortunately, when you put a group of people, 63 or plus together, we have a lot of alpha males, right? So we always talk about who's in charge. So we always have a commander. Then we also have a medical leader. And that's who you need to determine who's going to be the medical leader. The next thing you have is the rescue leader. In case we have to do a search and rescue, or we have to tie off. But like last month, we had Legacy, Outfitters, Legacy Off-Road. They came in and gave us a class. And then the other one we have to have is communication. And I just renewed my ham radio. And I just gave a class on that the other day. But you got to have a communication. So you got to have a commander. That's what everything goes to them. You got to have a medical leader. You have to have a rescue leader. And you have to have a communication leader. And then hopefully those people can come together and steer us in the right direction. Because everybody wants to help. But actually, if you are in law enforcement, military, fire, we understand those. And also put a plug in. I just saw online that the University of Utah has a CERT program. I used to teach CERT at Saratoga. It's a great program. And if you've never done that, that teaches you a lot about when things go wrong, what to do. Okay? So let's go ahead and talk about your first aid kits. Who all brought them? Okay, let's go ahead and open them up. It's always kind of fun to see what people bring in their first aid kits. And no alcohol. Okay, so that's for later. But let's see some first aid kits. We're not here to pick on you. Just a lot of people never open them up until something happens and they go, wow, I thought I had something. Or we were just talking about before the meeting about, well, I had a great first aid kit, but it needs some help. And so we're going to give you some ideas. That looks like a great kit. So if I have a laceration to the head, a 2-inch, what do you have in that first aid kit to help me out? Sterile pad. Okay, there you go. What else you got? Rubber gloves. Okay. Tapes and scissors. Okay. What do you have there? Triangle bandage. That works perfect. Yeah. Okay, what's the other thing? Okay, anybody else bring a kit? Got a couple of them up here. Oh yeah, there you go. Open up. What do you got there? A brand new one. Okay, so if we have a laceration of the head, what do you have? Okay, now somebody said, how about a sprain of the ankle? Do you have anything in there for a sprain of the ankle?
Nope. Oh, I have gauze.
Ace bandage, okay. Got
Gauze
a little
and a stick.
Prolix roll. What do you have?
Gauze and a stick.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay, now let's talk about the tools of the trade. So other than a first aid kit, what else do we want to carry on our rigs? How many people have a Garmin or a Spot? Okay, all right. Okay, how many people have a GPS and know how to use it? Okay, all right. Who here has a radio and know how to use it? So what frequency as a group do we use?
I don't have the frequency, I just have a program, have a name.
Me too. There you go. Yeah, so it's we usually have rugged 2, I believe. Is that right? Rugged 3? Yeah, rugged 3. So that's something that you want to write down on that piece of paper. So what else do you guys carry? What else do we carry? Shovel. Yes. Very good. Okay, what else? Shovel. An axe. Okay. Or anything else? Toe straps. Yeah, we had that class last night. In fact, actually, I just bought some more. There you go.
Fire starter.
Fire starter. Okay, there you go. All right. Okay, what's that? Ropes. Anything else? Blankets. Yeah. I like, just a couple years ago, we had to give Steve and Annetta some extra clothes. They got a little wet. So all of a sudden we got some Carhartts out, some different shoes, and we learned a lot from that one, right? So we usually learn from our mistakes. Okay. Well, that's really good. Anybody else have a first aid kit?
The other thing you should have is ibuprofen.
Drugs. Drugs are good, right? Some aspirin, ibuprofen. Okay. Okay. Well, if you guys get up and come on over here, let me show you some of the things that I like to show you. Come on up here. We're just going to get to know each other real well. First of all, I brought Annie. You guys probably all know Annie, right? Well, I'm going to tell you a story about Annie. So, I had to get recertified at the Utah Valley Hospital. That's where most advanced EMTs and firefighters, we have to go through their training. But this Annie here has a light on her collarbone on the left side. Who here is trained right now in CPR? Okay, Ron, could you go ahead and get Annie on the ground and start doing compressions for her? Everybody watch Ron. So where are you putting your hand out, Ron?
Well, you measure 2 fingers up,
2 fingers up.
right there, put 2 hands on here,
Okay.
and you compress like this.
Okay, so is he passing or failing? Is he passing or failing? Okay, he's got a red light, so he's not doing much for that patient, right? Okay, Ron, give Ron the applause. Give Ron a round of applause, Ron. What we found out at American Heart 3 years ago is that we've been teaching CPR and first aid to a lot of people in the world, but people are just not doing it right. So there's actually a green light here. And so when you put the patient on the ground, when you get the green light, you know you're doing compressions. You want to try it again, Ron, now get the green one? You gotta break the sternum.
Well,
Wow.
the first thing you're supposed to do is make sure that...
Don't go there, Ron, don't take my class over. Just do the compressions.
I know,
Just
but
stay with the instructor.
I don't want to get 2 red lights.
Just stay with the instructor. Okay?
Okay, you're supposed to put your hand here and your hand on top.
Okay. And that patient's done. And that patient's done. And that patient's done. Anybody else want to help Ron out? Okay, so give Ron a big applause, all right? Okay. All right. So this is the issue.
Hold that Ron now. Is that, first of all, you got to put those 2 hands.
Oh, there you go. You got to put those 2 fingers called lower mid sternum.
So you want to do this way. You want to interlock the hand. You want to have 90 degrees up and down. And you want to count out loud, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Is that green light there?
Give her an applause. Let's see the light. Now, the problem of it is in the Valley, American Heart, we have to train that standard. Because you're going down 2 inches. You have to do 100 to 120. But how long, if we're out in the middle of the desert, can we do that with 1 person? It's not going to happen, right, Brenda? That's why it takes a team. So we have a commander, we have a medical leader, we have a rescuer, and then we have the communication. So while I'm teaching somebody to take over for me, like Vaughn, if he comes up, I can show him how to keep those green lights going, right? So we know that those 30 compressions, it takes 9 to get that blood to the heart. And then about 22 people start getting lazy on us. So what we do is when we teach to encourage each other. Because it might be an hour before we get Lifeline out there, right? So it's a team approach. And that's why I brought Andy with the green lights. But now, how many people were trained to lip lock that mannequin? A long time ago, right, Alice? Then all of a sudden we got COVID, right? And then all of a sudden people buy these little micro shields. But what we do is we teach the BVM. So on my kid here, I actually have a bag valve mask. And so I'm going to demonstrate that for you.
So while somebody else is doing compressions, Ron, we'll do them the right way now. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my knees right here, and every 30 he does, man, give him a round of applause. He is a fast learner. I'm going to go ahead and give those 2 breaths. Every 30, he'll stop, and I'll give 2 breaths. You think I can do that a long time? Sure. Or I can bring him up here and I can use my leg. And that's how you sustain until the EMS gets there. But right now, a lot of people in their first aid kits either have a micro shield or they don't have anything.
And so the statistics show that this lovable person, our member, or our guest, will not go home. But if you do the compressions right, and you do the oxygen right, perfect. And then if you have a really great guy or person, they bring an AED to the party, right? Ron, you remember how to put the AED on? Okay, so in this group, how many people carry a $2,700 AED?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically we know the only way we're going to get Andy back as an adult, a little bit different on children, the only way we're going to be able to get them back is with an AED and we just don't carry it. So that's why you want to have the class learn how to do the AED, because if you're in an airport or at a store or something, but out in the field, I don't provide one of those $2,700 piece of equipment. That's why it's so important to do the compressions right, rotate, and then give good respiration and ventilation. Then statistics go higher. Other than that, you're not really doing too much more. Yeah.
Like the last 2 times I got certified, they didn't even teach breathing.
Okay, that's called the lay person. That's called push hard and fast. I do not teach that. I only teach BLS. The only thing I do basic life support because I teach healthcare providers. But yes, if you want to have a class, we just push hard and fast. But again, you have to get some type of
I
oxygen.
felt totally like I didn't get anything.
Yeah, that's okay. That's right. So that's why it's so important that we work as a team, and whoever knows how to do it, because it's scary. There's no doubt it's scary. But one person take lead, and then make sure those compressions are good, and make sure the ventilations are good, and while the communication leader then gets a flashlight. Anybody have any questions about that? I am going to show you how to put this AED on, so just Gordon, you can help me out here. Okay.
So this is an AED. So
What is the? Can I have? If I have a straight line called Sicily, can I shock that? As a person by myself, can I shock that? You see it on the shows all the time, right? Can you shock that? So what's the AED going to tell me, Brenda? Shock's not advised. It's going to talk to me. Once I plug this thing, it talks to me. But if it's a Sicily, it's going to say shock is not advised. You just got to do compressions, right? Ventilation. But if I have a V-fib, so what's V-fib? Yep, that's when the heart's irregular, the beats are, so that's when I can shock those. And I'm not going to get too technical here, but sometimes the machine will tell you shock is not advised, and that's why you want to check that pulse. But again, sometimes it'll just tell you, just keep on doing CPR. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put the AED on.
Ron, you know how to do this?
I've never done it.
Oh, you never did? All right, so very first thing what you do is you'll have somebody doing the compressions, somebody doing ventilation. Somebody want to jump in there, Chris? You do ventilations for me. Brenda, you want to do compression? Well, that's why you're here, right? Okay, I've only been doing it for almost 21 minutes, so we're okay.
So you do something
Okay,
there?
yeah, there you go.
Do we walk in?
Two fingers up. With your palm, that's actually, there you go. An interlock. Go to the bottom straight, start doing compression. And we got a green. We got a green light. Okay, so I have two pads here.
Trying to get around here,
Got
sorry.
a male, got a picture of a male, tells you exactly where to put the pads at. You'll put those pads while she's doing compressions. I will continue doing those. Put the pad on. So you press. You go. Turn it on.
Analyzing heart
Okay,
rhythm.
I'm clear, you're clear, everyone clear.
Do not touch the patient. Shock advised.
Compressions, ventilation.
Charging. Stay clear of patient.
I'm clear, you're clear, everyone clear.
Deliver shock now. Shock delivered.
Compressions, ventilation. That's how it is.
CPR.
That's it. Okay, pretty simple. And we'll just keep rocking and rolling until we do 5, and then we'll analyze again. But again, if you've never done it before, very simple. Talks your way through it. I guess that's why I do it, because I'm not a real smart guy. So the machine talks me through it. Okay. Now, where's that mic? Okay, so you want to try it? You want to try it? Dave, you want to try it? You sure? Yeah. Because right now I'm having a heart attack. What are you going to do for me? Nothing. Okay. We actually don't call it a heart attack. We call it a cardiac event. And so anyway, you sure you're good with it? You good? Oh, there you go. Okay, grab your team. Let's get a team in here. I need 2 more people to help Gordia. Anybody want to help him? Bruce, you want to go? Sure. Okay. You want to come up, Mark? Sure. Okay. So make sure Gordy's got the green light going.
I missed the first part, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're here to teach. So go ahead and do the compressions 30 and 2, and then you're going to use the AED. Okay. Sue, can you walk? What's your name?
I'm Julia.
Julia. Sue, can you watch Julia how to do that? Can you show her how?
I'm learning on the job here.
There you go. Okay, T.
Put one over there.
Are you?
Yep, okay. And put the other side over there. Okay.
Now again, when you go through one of our classes, it's 4 hours. And like on Saturday, we had 15 people in our class. We do this over and over and over. It's like muscle memory.
That's what I say.
Okay, turn on green. Turn on green first. Push the green.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, put it on the ground now. Put it on the ground.
Analyzing.
Okay, when it says analyzing, we'll say, I'm clear, you're clear, everyone clear. Nobody wants to touch the patient.
Shock.
Okay, start doing compressions and ventilations. Don't shock it yet.
Charging.
Okay, you'll get charged. So while it's charging, you want to keep on doing those compressions.
Deliver shock.
Okay, I'm clear, you're clear, everyone clear. And then shock.
Begin CPR.
Then continue doing CPR first aid. So again, if you're the medical leader, you'll know this system. Again, we won't have the AD up there, but you can encourage people. Now, how do you know if your compressions are good without the lights? Who knows? Okay, so everybody check your carotid artery, right?
You got the hardest.
So when your heart's beating, do you feel it? Well, actually, each compression, you should be able to feel it too. So I'll reach in there, and I'll check the pulse, and if you got a pulse, I'm saying, good job, guys, keep on going. So I'm all about reinforcing because it is exhausting. And then about every 2 minutes, I'll rotate my team. I just go clockwise. So let's go ahead and rotate. So we just do rotate, and then when the other people get there, we start rotating. Okay? So that's, again, we won't have an AD up there, but I just want to show everybody how, and that's pad goes right here. Right there. Okay, now, anybody have any questions about CPR? Okay, so again on the mountain, we won't have an AED. But we also have a lot of people, and we'll learn how to do compressions and ventilations and encourage each other. Very important.
Okay, then there's like I was talking about, there's called trauma and there's medical. So again, when I look at a patient, I go, okay, is this a trauma patient or is it medical? What's the difference between a trauma and a medical? Yeah. So on those cards I gave you, there's an acronym when you call 911. So if I ask you, please call 911, there's things that I want you to tell them. First of all, get a good GPS coordinate. So whoever makes the phone call, or if you're a ham radio operator, you go that frequency, you can then make that initiate. You want to give them, I'm a 59-year-old man, he's been unconscious for 20 minutes, CPR has been going on, my location is this, my latitude and my longitude. At that time, 911 will then go ahead and dispatch 911, and they'll put a bird in the air if the situation allows it. Because sometimes they have to do a risk analysis to find out. Like right now, they're not going to put a bird in the air with the weapon. Okay, so the next thing you want to do, well, we might get flooded out tonight, so we have to give a class on flooding. So the next thing you want to do is just tell them what you have, and what we use is called sample. This is something to write down on that card, put your first aid kit. It's called sample. So S stands for signs and symptoms. A sign is what you see. A symptom is what the patient tells you. Give an example. If I have somebody with a lacerated finger, I can tell that to dispatch. But if I ask them, well, how's your finger? And they go, Rick, it's really sore. From 0 to 10, it's an 8. That's a symptom. Okay? The next thing is called A, and that's called for allergies. So again, when the medics come in, they're going to be given some drugs, but also if you're allergic to like a bee sting, and you don't have an EpiPen, that would be really good to tell me if you're allergic to bee stings. The next thing is you want to tell with M is what kind of medication. Now, as people get older in our lives, especially our geriatric patients, they got a big bag of medical. So on my phone, I have all 3 drugs that I take. So I put in ice, and that's my wife, so that's Michelle. And then I have as my drugs there, so they always know. And that's M is for medication. P is any past medical conditions. So you can ask them, Chris, have you had anything going on in your life lately that you had to see a doctor? Yeah, I do. I'm being treated right now for high blood pressure. I got a thyroid issue, and I got some other issues you want to go into. So that's shared with us. The next thing you want to do is basic last meal or last waste, I call it. So when's the last time he ate, and when's the last time he went and had a bowel movement? And it's very important about the bowel movement, because if he's dehydrated, what's the color of the urine?
Yellow.
It's going to be yellow, right? It's like the early morning urine. So when you go to the restroom, you look at the morning, it's yellow, and then about 3 o'clock, it's still yellow, we got a problem. So I work in construction now, and I'm always talking to my guys, because we're getting to the heat of the summer now. I was talking about that. The last thing I want to talk about is actually events. What caused this event? So I've been out riding 68 miles a day. I forgot to drink water. It's 100 degrees. Okay, so this tells me a story there. So that's called sample. So when you call 911, you want to give that, and you're starting to make a picture for EMS coming in. Okay, so that's kind of like when you call 911. But also now, if they say we're going to bring a helicopter in, what kind of perfect place is to bring a helicopter? Can you describe it? Do we want to bring them in on a hill? Oh, it's not good, right? Most of these guys got a lot of experience and they're probably going to bring it in. But we want a flat surface, and that's 100 by 100. 100 by 100. So that's again in our class, we teach out on the commands on that so you can bring the helicopter in. Okay, now, because of time, does anybody have a tourniquet in their first aid kit? Anybody have a tourniquet? Is it available right now? Get it out. Who here knows how to put a tourniquet on? Okay? So if you're going to put it on, where do you put it on? So if I have a limb that caught the machine, especially for like a little Sierra, and that person puts the arm out while it's rolling, all of a sudden you have an arm that needs a tourniquet. How do we put it on? Well, let's look over here. They're going to show you how to put it on. Do you put it on all the way on the to the limb or just above the injury. This has been a debate for a long time. Since we've learned about Afghanistan and Iraq, we go all the way to the top now. So we're teaching our EMS to go all the way to the top. Okay? Once you put it on, can you loosen it? No. Once you put it on, you leave it. You want to write down the time and date, and once you put it on there, you don't loosen it. Only medical when you get to the hospital. The nice thing about it is when we're teaching EMTs, we can go hours with a tourniquet and you can still save that limb. You can do it the right way. So a lot of the myths have been proven wrong. So yeah, there it is. Okay? Pretty soon his arteries are going to bulge and he'll look like some great muscle down. So yeah, it's pretty good. Okay? So thank you. Give a round of applause to the guys for doing that. In my kit, I have a stethoscope. I want to hear your heart. I also have OPs. These are great oral. I can also use them as a splint if I got a fractured finger or something. I always got a pair of safety glasses. I actually have a blood pressure cup. If you don't, I want to know what's going on with you. And then glucometer. So if you're having a diabetic emergency, I want to know what your sugar levels are. It tells me a lot right there. Then I have the Israeli bandages. These are really nice. These are only about $7, but they actually work as a tourniquet, but also a nice bandage. And those are the Israeli bandages. I have a tourniquet. Then I have a pulse ox. I want to know what your oxygen level is and what your pulse is. And it's kind of these are only $19, pretty cheap. Then I got the pocket mask. So if I don't have the BVM, I have a pocket mask. And then, like I just gave you, I always have a piece of paper and pen. There you go. I also, at my level, I can give meds. So I have medication cards. So if I have to give medication, I have those written down. And then I always carry extra batteries. Nothing's worse, you're up on the mountain on an ATV accident, and all of a sudden one of your tools don't work, you know, batteries. So I always have extra batteries. I have pin lights. And then for my big bag, this is when things go really bad. So in my big bag, I actually have splints. I got a lot of bandages. I have a lot of different scissors. So if I have 3 or 4 patients down, I can open my bag out. And then if whoever's trained in first aid, if you pull out, you don't have your first aid kit, I can open this up and I can actually treat up to 6 patients at one time. So everything's divided here, and I can start telling you what to do and then how to run it. And so again, don't run out. My EMTs, when I go through my students, they always go, well, we need one of those big bags. These are $400. So start with something small, but again, if this is your profession like it is mine, I can go ahead and so it's a little bit more extreme. Again, on the trail, I always have this kit. I have the one like you guys are carrying, but it doesn't usually come out. I figure you guys can put Band-Aids on all day. But when something goes bad, I'll pull this kit out. And then when we got like a rollover, or we have a lot of patients, then I call that the Scotty bag. It's my black lab. I say, Scotty, go get the bag. So we're good to go there. We covered a lot of things in 45 minutes. It's just an introduction. I have a lot of passion for this, and I've got to use it over the years of my career. But again, take a class, and then when we do have a situation or when we give those safety briefings at the beginning of a ride, if you're one that says, you know what, I'm trained in CPR or first aid, please let us know that. So when we build that team when something goes wrong, so when our board members come over and say, Rick, we have a medical condition over here, you say, you know what, Will goes, I'm trained, then I know that I can rely on you. And again, it's scary. 37 years I've been doing this, including on the fire department, it's still pretty intimidating when you get somebody down because everything's on your shoulders. But again, as a team, when we work as a team, we can make things happen. Because nobody alone here can make all those decisions. But also, what is so just about legal? I know this is always brought up. What are some of the reasons why people don't want to get involved with this? What are some of the reasons why people don't want to? They don't want to be responsible. Yeah, people don't want to be responsible. You see that, which, tell me. I don't want to be responsible. That tells me you can do something else. When I teach CERT, we find out they can do something else. What's another reason why people don't want to get involved? Okay, I get that a lot, Brenda. So that's called the Good Samaritan Act. As long as you're trained what you're supposed to do, you have zero harm. The Good Samaritan Act here in Utah covers us. Again, when I'm on the trail with you, I don't have a medical control. So again, I don't work as an advanced EMT. I have some tools, but again, I can only work as a just a basic provider. What's another reason why people don't get involved? Lack of knowledge, yeah. So just take a class. Contact EMT Utah or Red Cross or American Heart and get educated. Yeah, Ron?
Last thing you want to do is have another patient, so if they can't
Oh,
deal with it.
bing, right. Yeah, and that's why we always teach first responders that come in is always scene safe. You do not want to come into a bad situation, right? So is the scene safe? And if it's not, we got to look at it and say, okay, what can we do to make it safe? What's another reason why people don't get involved? Fear. Scary. Yeah. And just the only way you're going to overcome it is go get training and then work as a team. And that's why when people always go, why do 5 firefighters come together? It's because at 2:30 in the morning, hopefully between all 5 of them, they're making the right calls. But again, teamwork is very important. So again, today was just an introduction. Please, if you want to take a class from your team, you're more welcome to, or I can help you with other resources. But again, this is a great class, and that's the Wilderness First Responder class. And Sam does a great job down there for us. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Two things I put in my bag, I got a burn kit.
Yeah.
I work a refinery and I do it.
Sure.
The other thing is I put a trauma dressing in there.
Yeah.
You have a skull fracture, whatever, you get trauma, so I'll stop the bleeding.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you recommend that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Yes, I do. This is a key thing that, especially burn ointment. So we, as EMS providers, we're trained to do certain things. That's why everything I carry is actually as an EMT. But again, burn ointments like that, we just don't have to put that stuff on. But again, if
Do you recommend taking it or?
actually, I would leave it at home, to be honest with you. There's cold water, cool water, and there's different degrees of burns, and we're afraid to get contaminated. But again, do what you're trained to do. But in my kit, I just don't do that. And a skull fracture, again, are you able to diagnose a skull fracture? No, I'm not. So I'm going to go ahead and stabilize the head, stabilize the patient until EMS gets there. Yeah. You would just stabilize them, and then when EMS gets there, they have all the tools. Where it serves as a support rule. Make sure that, remember, airway, breathing, circulation, disability, environmental. Thing's an acronym to me, so that's what I go through. So if I see somebody with a rollover, okay, do I have good airway? Do I have good breathing, good circulatory, check the pulse? Do I have what type of disabilities and then what kind of environment? Like right now, if we were at right now, it's going to be cold and wet, so I'm really afraid. I want to make sure to keep myself warm and dry, right? So that's when that tarp would come in with Kim sand. Let me get some extra blankets out. Any other questions? Now, since this is being recorded, I got to make sure I tell everything right. So, okay. Snake bites. What do you think we got to do about rattlesnakes? Okay, we'll need to take a class on snake bites. They're a little bit difficult, actually. That's not the answer that you want to use, but again, we know that in our class, and that's a whole class on itself. Anybody else? Okay, I just want to say thank you, and thank you for being on the group, and hopefully you never have to use this stuff. Right? Okay, have a good night.
Thanks, Rick. We appreciate that. Just to give you guys a heads up so you're prepared, our plan moving forward is every time we have a meeting like this, we will have somebody here to talk about something that's going to be related to our sport. I think it's important that when we come here, we actually utilize the time and we learn something from it. So with that said, if anybody has suggestions or something that they would like to see us cover, please reach out to one of us so we can get it on the schedule, okay? May will be here next month, 2-day ride in Kanab, There's going to be a lot of camping for those that are going. For those that are not going camping, but still want to attend the ride, the best prices we found were through Expedia for the hotels in the surrounding area. So just check Expedia to get the best price for a hotel. Right now, they're not offering a lot of discounts, so we haven't been able to do anything as far as a club discount. Okay, and I'm going to pass it on to Danny.
What month is Vernal? We haven't done it yet. Working on it. We'll get that up with you soon. We just want to also make sure that we give Bernini the Edge here a plug for everything they do. Because without them, we wouldn't have any place to have a meeting. So, don't forget that we have service information. Ed.
Thanks for coming, guys. It's been a great time. I'll see you Saturday. Oh, room raffle. I'm getting bellowed up from the back corner.
Get with the program.
Not my job.
Oh, yes, yes. You're the boss. New member?
Hey, hush.
New member?
For everyone that participated in the room raffle, here comes the lovely Brit, and we're going to draw a ticket.
Kevin? That's you. That looks like
Kevin.
Kevin, right?
That's an Corey.
He
wins every
Corey with the K?
He wins every month.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll see you Saturday if you're there.